All right, welcome to the show. Welcome, episode 477 of the podcast. Thank you for tuning in to BD4. Let's talk a little Knicks. We'll talk a little LeBron James. That happened last night. Trade deadline coming up. Let's talk hoops. All right, let's get to it. Episode 477 of the podcast. Let's go. Welcome to BD4, an RJ Carbone podcast. Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. BD4 is a 5-star show on Apple Podcasts, also available in video format on YouTube and Spotify. So thanks for stopping by, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Champion of the world, turning, looking, see ya! Anthony for three, bang! That one goes down, and the game is tied! Time!
Penetrates, creates, and showing some dexterity as well with the left hand.
Yankees win!
All right, welcome to the show. Welcome, episode 477 of BD4. I'm your host, RJ Carbone, and thank you for stopping by. LeBron last night broke the record. I was watching that game. Of course, it came in a loss because the Lakers suck. I used to hate LeBron, and I would spend time hating on him. I've kind of put that aside over the last few years. Still not a big fan of him. He complains and bitches more than anybody in the league. That embarrassing display of I don't even know what to call it the other night when he on that no call where Tatum fouled him. So I was never the biggest fan of him, but I'm gonna give the guy props, man, because he's obviously a top player of all time. He's in my top 5. I don't know. I mean, after Jordan, it's hard for me to make up the order. It switches all the time. But regardless, he's no worse than top 5, and he shouldn't be on these lists. And he's an amazing player, man, and he beat it. He passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar last night, which it was pretty funny seeing Kareem's face the entire night. Just shitting himself. He looked like he all night they panned to his face after every basket, the poor bastard, and you just see him, and he looks like he just saw a ghost, So, I mean, hey, when you hold a record for that long, you're gonna be disappointed. And then I caught during the ridiculous mid-game presentation. Kareem took a photo with LeBron, and then he was smiling. You could tell it was like that meme of that Turkish dude they call Grandpa Harold, that fake smile. And then right after the photo, you could see him. He was just like walking away. I caught that at the end. I was like, man, this guy is miserable. But that presentation, that you could stop the game for a few minutes, but the presentation thing was weird. Like you could do that after the game or maybe before your next home game. That was annoying. If I was a Thunder player, I would that would piss me off. But dude, LeBron James probably gonna finish over 40K soon enough. An unbelievable accomplishment, and it's been an honor to say that I was able to be alive during, a top player of all time. Like, this guy is constantly in these, pointless arguments about him or Jordan. Just the fact that he's up there in that conversation every day just goes to show how great he is. And to be able to score this many points means that you've been so great for so long. You've been so durable, healthy, to have this kind of production, the longevity of it. It's amazing. You don't see guys take care of their bodies like you do LeBron. Like, the guy's in his, 19th year. He's 38 years old, and he's averaging 30 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists? He's unbelievable. So, and he's shooting, 55%. He's unbelievable. So, congrats to LeBron last night. He absolutely deserved it. And, good for the Lakers fans in attendance that spent all that money to see it. I didn't think he would do it last night. He went into the night needing 36, and I think he finishes with 38. Yeah. It was cool. I don't know if I should say cool, but it was interesting. There was I saw a photo. I think Bleacher Report posted it on their Instagram. I don't know. It was Michael Jordan scoring a basket. I don't know if it was a specific basket, but it was Jordan scoring a basket, and in the background you had the crowd, and all the fans were just looking right at Jordan. They were looking, no phones, and then you saw the LeBron basket beneath that photo, and all the fans, hands over their eyes like this with their phone in their hands filming. It's nuts to me. I hate that too, man. I wish that. Man, when you go to a sporting event, they should force everybody to put their phones in a fucking basket before you enter the arena and come back after the game. Nobody cares about your photos, all right? There are tons of photos from the photographers that work there, from the games on TV. I don't like this era we're in where nobody wants to witness history live with their eyes anymore. They want to watch it through a fucking screen. I sound like an old man. I don't care. But congrats to LeBron, man. For real, that's an incredible accomplishment and something. He's a one-of-a-kind player, and he'll probably hold that record, if not forever, for lifetimes after me. Generations upon generations will try, but I don't know if that's going to be beaten soon. That's, I mean, Ben Simmons is close. Ben Simmons is a close second. That's another meme I saw. Let's talk Knicks. Let's talk Knicks. Another big win last night. Just big because it gets them closer to that 6th seed. They've now got 30 wins on the season. The last game before the trade deadline was last night. They don't play until the back-to-back on Friday, Saturday. But the Knicks hosting the Magic at MSG South last night. It basically is. I mean, the place is just full of Knicks fans. It's, New Yorkers who move to Florida when they retire. That's what that is. That's why Tampa Bay, the Rays, that stadium's also full of Yankees fans. But it was one that should have been a blowout. Unfortunately, it wasn't easy. When is it? Magic, Philly, don't matter. It's always going to be a grind for this team. And it didn't look great for a while either. The Magic make things tough. They're a team with young talent. In a few years, they'll be pretty decent. They've a lot of youth, scrappy defense. They're pressing up on the ball early. A lot of Knick turnovers, a lot of cold shooting slumps. These are guys that move their feet. They keep you in front. They communicate very well defensively. And they gave the Knicks 3 very tough quarters of basketball. The Knicks, they didn't have a legitimate lead in this game until the 4th. I mean, other than the first basket of the game. But their starters eventually find it towards the end of the 3rd. And they pull it together in the 4th. Quickley plays a big part of that run. The second unit's playing better late. Quickley scoring. He's facilitating. Brunson with a number of big-time plays. And, of course, the late-game free throw execution between Brunson and Randle seals the deal in the end. And the final score, 102-98. The Knicks win in Orlando last night, improving to 30-26 on the season. So there's still the slightest bit, like the slightest percentage point behind Miami for that number 6 spot, though. I think Miami's like, 5.46 win percentage, and the Knicks are 5.45, But regardless, it was a big one, and I want to discuss it. So Let's get into the specifics and all that as soon as we get back from break. Stay with us. We'll be back in 15 seconds. Hey guys, so if you are a listener of the podcast often and you want to know where to find me on social media, you can find me on Facebook at BD4. You can find me on Twitter at BD4Pod. And you can also find me on Instagram at RobJCarbone. All right, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, RJ Carbone, and you're listening to episode 477 of the podcast. Let's get right into Jalen Brunson's performance, because I think he deserves a game ball after doing what he did last night.
Bing bang.
Brunson last night, 25 points, 5 assists, 1 turnover, 2 steals, shot 9 out of 13 from the floor, 69%. 3 out of 6 from 3, 4 out of 5 from the free throw line. He was a plus 13 in the box score across 39 minutes. He was great. You know, early on, again, I said the Magic were pressing him up top with doubles and forcing him off the ball. The Knicks struggled with that initially, but eventually they started moving off the basketball. And they found Brunson's space to operate in ISO, catch and shoot a little bit. And he was knocking down some difficult shots all night, man. Difficult shots. My gosh. His first 2 baskets of the game were pull-up three-pointers in the faces of 2 big men. His first bucket, the Magic switched Wendell Carter Jr. on him early, but that didn't matter. He knocks down the three-point triple to get them on to get himself on the board. And then he pulls up in transition for a three-pointer a little later over Bull, who, you know, this guy's about 8 feet, 120 pounds. So he was knocking down shots in your face. He had the floater game going all night in traffic down in the paint. I loved the way he was working with Julius last night, especially. Whether he was scoring off a Randle kickout, vice versa, or using a Randle ball screen, which he did a lot. Those two were very dynamic last night on the court. And then, of course, as he usually does, cashing in down the stretch with big baskets and big plays. In the fourth quarter, Brunson finishes with 10 points, 3 out of 3 shooting, 2 assists in there. And all those points that he scored in the fourth came in crunch time, which, again, is the final 5 minutes of a 5-point game. With 3 minutes and 30 seconds left, the Knicks are down 3. He throws in a floater and draws contact. About 1 minute later, the Knicks are down 1. The Magic switch Paolo Banchero onto Brunson in ISO, and he knocks down the open elbow jumper to put the Knicks up 1. 2 possessions later after that, the Knicks are down 1 again. It's about a minute and change remaining in the game. And this time, the Magic don't switch. They keep Fultz on him, but Brunson blows by going left, and he floats it in off the glass, puts the Knicks back up 1 point. And then he knocks down his key free throws at the end there. So it was another great game for Jalen Brunson. And that's now 27 game balls that I've handed him across the 52 games he's played. Meaning he's been their best player among the starting unit more than half the time, in my opinion. So, having a good year, having the best year on the team. He's their leader, and he showed it again once last night. And that was Jalen Brunson's night. I also want to talk about Immanuel Quickley, because I thought Quickley was excellent too. And Quickley is going to get, the game ball coming off the bench.
Bing bang.
Yeah, last night, 18 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, no turnovers. That's a Quickley special. 1 steal, 7 of 15 shooting from the floor, and 4 of 9 from 3. I thought he took advantage. I thought he took advantage of Orlando overhelping last night. Attacking closeouts, finishing, kicking out. He was probing off the dribble and getting defenders at his hips, which he's very great at doing that. It was good. He was scoring, rebounding a little bit, and playing some defense and facilitating as he usually does. good to see the three-point shot there. And it's just a nice bounce back overall after struggling for, 2 or 3 games. But Quickley's consistency this year has been so solid. Even in this single year alone, he's improved so much just in terms of constantly putting points on the board for the team. Like, in his first 30 games, he's scored in double figures 13 times. In his last 25 games, he's scored in double figures 23 times. So, to put that into perspective, the first half of his year, he scored double figures in 43% of the games. In the second half of the year, he scored in double figures in 92% of his games. Consistency. Some of that, of course, has to do with minutes. He's getting about 10 more minutes per game this half of his season. But you don't get the minutes unless you produce, especially under a guy like Tom Thibodeau. So the jump has been so significant, much higher than I expected. I will admit that for sure, because I didn't think he'd take this big a jump, and I even mentioned that a couple times earlier in the year when he was struggling. So it was a great game for Quickley. Again, he was a big part to that fourth quarter success. And I want to talk about the Knicks' fourth quarter offense when we get back from break. Stay with us. We'll be right there. BD4 is located on many different platforms. You can listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, and if you do there, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and review. You can listen to it on Spotify, but you can also watch the podcast on both Spotify and YouTube. BD4 is available on many other platforms as well. All you got to do is search it up. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and much more. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. You are listening to episode 477 of BD4. The fourth quarter offense. Let's talk about it, because once again, I liked what I saw. The ball movement was great from both units in the period. They were also just taking good care of the basketball. They were knocking down the key free throws at the end, and also grabbing some very timely rebounds, which can be a problem for us at times. And we actually saw that early fourth quarter. There was that one sequence where Orlando was grabbing like 4 offensive rebounds in a row. But yeah, overall it was a good fourth, and the ball movement was most impressive to me. One of the Knicks' first baskets of the fourth quarter, maybe it was their first, was off of some beautiful offense. Quickley comes off a Hartenstein screen up top. He takes a dribble or two right inside the top of the key. He kicks it out to Deuce, who's spotting up for a 3 on the weak side elbow. But Deuce ball fakes the defender, starts his drive, and then he kicks it back out to Quickley. Quickley ball fakes his defender closing out, and then swings it to RJ, who's spotting up on the ball side wing for 3. I thought that was some very quick, very impressive ball movement for the Knicks to keep the Magic on their toes and beat out their rotations with quick decision making. That was impressive to me. You had some other moments like Obi with the nice little dribble handoff to Quickley for a 3. Brunson finds RJ up top in a kick out. RJ eventually drives and floats it in. Brunson later hits up Jericho Sims cutting from the dunker spot. You had Randle and Quickley working together with strong screens and quick passes. RJ Barrett and Jericho Sims running that little 3-5 side pick and roll. The Knicks, they had a good fourth quarter, and they finished with a strong 36 points, 7 assists on 12 makes in the period, just 1 turnover, which was the Randle travel and ISO. But you did get key defensive rebounds from Julius in the final minute. 3 of them in the final minute. You had one with the Knicks up 1 point in 50 seconds to play. You had another with the Knicks up 3 points and 30-something seconds left. And then you had the one with 3 seconds left. And it was right off that missed free throw from somebody on Orlando, where he just goes after it very aggressively, secures the ball, and gets the win. So I love that. And again, Randle also part of that free throw shooting down the stretch with Brunson. as they combined to go 6 for 6 in the final 10 seconds there. But big time fourth quarter, in which fourth quarter offense has been my worry this year, and lately it's been pretty good. It's been pretty good, especially since Brunson has returned after that 1-game absence. He was actually, even that one game he was out, I mean, there were some hectic moments at the end of that game, but there were some good half-court possessions that we had. So it's been a few games now where we've played well late down the stretch on offense. But I want to talk about Randle's night because there was some good in there. There was definitely some good. He finished with 22 points, 14 more rebounds, 6 assists, 4 turnovers, 7 of 15 shooting, 4 of 10 from 3, and 4 of 6 at the free throw line. So there were some annoying Randle moments, as I call them, for sure. Classic turnovers like the spin move into traffic at half court on the break. We saw that in the second quarter. Or the signature jump pass out of a double, which he also did again. And he had some crunch time blunders again. The travel with less than 2 minutes left, up 1 point. And the big miss with 20 seconds left, a chance to put the game to bed and put them up from 3 to 6. And he also earned another technical, losing his cool, pushing down. He pushed somebody down. But in the end, it was still a productive game for Julius, and I thought he had an important second quarter with the 3-point ball to keep the Magic from pulling away. Because the Magic were on the verge through this game of really starting to pull away, but they never really got further than 11, 12 points. And Randle made sure of that in the second. There was one possession. The Magic were up 11 points. The Knicks swinging around to Randle for a 3. He knocks down the open catch and shoot on the elbow. And then that led to back-to-back triples from him, along with a little bit of a fadeaway jumper, and he kind of leads the Knicks on a run there. So I thought he played a big part midway through that second quarter. Yeah, that was Randle's night. Real quick, I want to talk about the Knicks defense because I thought it was good defense. Overall, they held the Magic to 98 points, just 24% from 3. They did have some issues with Markelle Fultz, making him look like the guy he was, supposed to be coming out of college. 21 points, 9 out of 12 shooting, 9 of 10 from 2. 3 of 3 free throw shooting, and 4 rebounds, 6 assists. He gave everybody guarding him a tough time, I won't lie. Whether it was in 1v1 with Brunson or through switches onto Grimes and Quickley, he did his thing. Grimes actually spent most of his time on Harris, which was interesting. Harris only scored 3 points in 27 minutes, but Grimes is your best wing defender, and you have him assigned to a guy who's averaging, 7, 8 points a night? It was odd. I guess the Knicks didn't want him on Wagner because of the size disadvantage, but RJ got cooked on Franz Wagner. RJ let Franz score 18 points on 7 of 12. His defense just looked pitiful. RJ Barrett overall last night was bad. 15 points on 5 of 16, 2 of 4 from the free throw line, only 2 rebounds. For the first 2.5 quarters, he was abysmal, missing open jumpers, hesitating on some of these jumpers, bricking at the foul line again, missing these weak side drives. And he did find it later on. He knocked down that 1-3 ball with less than 5 minutes to go in the third. It helped pull the Knicks within 3. And he kind of found it from there. He checks back in early fourth quarter, stays hot. So despite the rough night, shooting and all around, he did score 11 points on 4 of 6, shooting 3 of 4 from 3 in the final 16, 17 minutes of the night for him. A lot of jump shooting in the second half, so that was finally nice to see that coming alive. Nice floater in there. But, yeah, I'm kind of getting tired of these games where RJ's either not playing defense, not being efficient offensively, or both. So, it's frustrating, man. This kid's defense is dumpster fluid. It is. It's been such a roller coaster topic, too, throughout his career. Some years it's looked promising, but still no more than average, like in the fake season in 2021. But it was bad as a rookie. It was bad last year. And this year, he's just been terrible out there. Terrible. And I don't need garbage metrics by these, analytics zoomers to tell me that he's not playing good defense. I can see. I'm good. Between his terrible decision-making on perimeter switches and hedges up top and these lazy rotations, he's late recovering. He's getting beat on those weak side cuts because he's ball watching. He's been awful. Absolutely awful. His saving grace used to be his on-ball 1v1 defense, but I'm seeing these baseline blow-bys happen more and more every night now. He doesn't have the athleticism, doesn't have the basketball IQ, and a lot of times it's now become an effort thing. Size can only get you so far. So, when people are upset that RJ Barrett's getting benched in these fourth quarters, well, yeah. Because even if he's the slightest bit off offensively, it's not good enough to keep him in because his defense is so bad that we can't even afford simple, mediocre offense. So, I'm ready to move on. Like in the summer, if it's in a package deal with picks for a star, I am doing it. Anyways, speaking of Thibodeau, I liked what I saw from Thibs last night. I had no issues with his timeouts, no issues with the play calling late in the game. A lot less ISO, like we said once again. Listen, the Knick offense is very, slow, drive and kick heavy, some DHO offense, a lot of ISO. I get it. But in the fourth quarter, I do ask that we move the ball to some degree, and again, we've been getting that more lately. And how about Thibodeau, starting to trust his bench a little more lately? They weren't exactly great last night, but they came through in big spots in the fourth quarter, which is why they saw more minutes. The minutes distribution was fine. I never have an issue with it usually, but it's usually a thing that a lot of other Knicks fans might. But I think last night it met their standards. He gave them more minutes because they produced when it mattered. And he made the defensive adjustments that he needed to make, right? He took some heat for not fouling against the Clippers the other night with the Batum 3. But last night he decides to foul. He fouls right away to keep the Magic from tying or taking that lead. But going back to his offense and the play calling, one thing I liked to see last night was Jericho Sims being utilized. Sims, he actually outplayed Hartenstein last night. Scored 8 points, 9 rebounds, 2 steals, and got 35 minutes because of it. Hartenstein, 2 points, 3 rebounds, 13 minutes. Not his night. He was getting cooked by the other Wagner, whatever you call him, a few times. He was just getting cooked by him. He struggled with their size. But it was Sims, who has been struggling lately with matchups and fouling. It was him doing a nice job staying active on both sides of the floor. Defensively, in space, guarding it well. Did well on Banchero, held his own down low. But I want to talk about the offense that Thibodeau was running for Jericho. He gave you fourth quarter offense. He gave you offense, period. We finally used them, and they weren't just off of offensive rebounds and broken plays. No, the Knicks ran offense for Jericho Sims last night. They used him in their half-court sets. Even his basket early on, where he screens off a defender for Brunson, he rolls to the basket, and then Randle hits him up. Then you had the fourth quarter. You had the 3-5 side pick and roll, 3-5 side pick and roll with RJ Barrett. You had that one putback he had in the fourth, but that only came after screening off defenders for a Quickley three-point attempt. And then you had at the end where Brunson finds him cutting from the short corner. I would love to see this more. Like, I love it. I feel like, I've said it before, I feel like we can use his size and athleticism a lot more than we do. You know? He's a kid who I like. I would love to see get involved in the offense. Well, I'm not saying he's going to score you 10 points every night, but I think he can give you more. I think there's more in there if we just feature him when we run offense. But that's it. I want to wrap this up here. I don't want to go too long. Episode 477. We'll head to break, get back, wrap it up with our parlay and question of the day, and that'll be that. Stay with us. Be right there. We also have a website now for BD4. If you go to BD4blog.com, you can find the blog, the podcast links, and also where to find me on social media. Just go to BD4blog.com. Studio 69 Productions is a podcast production agency created by Leo Rodriguez to allow content creators to market their podcast. It's an online platform that will market your podcast or any other project that you're working on. Get in touch with Leo Rodriguez from Studio 69 Productions. You can find Studio 69 Productions on Instagram at Studio69NJ. Studio 69 Productions, where dreams are heard and born. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, RJ Carbone, episode 477. Let's wrap this up. Let's get to our trivia. And after the trivia, we'll talk about our... you know what? Let's get to the parlay first. And then we'll wrap it up with the trivia. All right. Welcome to RJ's Parlay, where my degenerate self breaks down tonight's big parlay. If I miss, it's not surprising. If I hit, I'll probably lose it all tomorrow night, because that's how this works. Welcome to RJ's Parlay. So this was from last night. I had a 4-pick parlay at plus 215. And man, it was stressful for me at the end to cover that 1.5 spread. So I had the Knicks minus 1.5, Randle for 35 combined points, rebounds, assists, Grimes for 14 combined, Brunson for over 3.5 assists, and I cashed in all 4 of those, winning the plus 215 4-pick parlay. That spread was so tough at the end, man. Those free throws really helped me out. So credit to Brunson and Randle. That's why we brought that up like 3 different times here, because that won me some buck. But that's our parlay. We have one tonight too for this Boston-Philly game, but we'll see how that works. But let's get to our trivia. Wrap this up. All right, so for episode 477, our NYY-NYK-MMA trivia question of the day is, in the 2003-2004 season, which Knick led the team in both offensive rebounds and blocked shots? In the 2003-2004 season, which Knick led the team in both offensive rebounds and blocked shots? All right, so let me know the answer wherever you can reach me one final time. In 2003-2004, which Knick led the team in both offensive rebounds and blocked shots? That's total, not average. Guys, that's it. Episode 477 in the books. I appreciate you stopping by, of course. And I will see you in 478 when we're talking about that Sixers game coming up, which... if we can beat them 3 times, that's super impressive, and I'm not expecting it. So, we'll see. This episode was brought to you by Anchor.